Hello and welcome. This is Ronnie. I'm showing with you a brief clip taken from 80 minutes video that I just finished to record for my subscribers. You can see the various markets that I covered in the long video in the description that comes with this particular clip. I must tell you that something really big is building up. I'm talking about the stock markets as well as the mining sectors you are surely aware of. But it's really something big building up, and it is in the nature of my work that I work with so many correlations, and I compare a lot of markets, and then I'm able to see, it's easy for me to see where the next very big move is coming, whether it's going to take us up or down, etc. There's one more thing I want to tell you quickly here, and that is here's my YouTube channel, and I'm showing here 194 followers. It's in French, but basically it's you're familiar with this structure. That's the channel, and I'm looking forward to the 200 mark. Once we cross the 200 mark, I plan to offer to celebrate that with you, and I will provide a special offer for you to access my service on a deeply discounted price, like we did when it crossed the 100 mark. So please look out for my next video. I hope by then we will cross the 200 mark, so we can look at that special offer together. In the meantime, I hope you enjoy the clip, and wishing you excellent trading for the coming week. Bye now. Okay, that's gold. Now there is something new in this chart that I didn't have before. What is that? That's the weekly. What's new here is that I added the 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't have it before because I was all the time thinking that the ABC structure would be enough. But now that I've seen we have seen together throughout the week, I've shown you many examples of all the major gold and silver producers around the world, and we have seen the patterns operating in those major producers, and the scale of the move that appears to be now beginning, the scale of that move does justify, from what I see, to put the 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, there's no need to spend hours and hours debating, is it really a 1, 2, 3, 4? Is it really an ABC? Well, we will know. We will know. There is no need to pull hairs at this stage. What is important is to establish that we have a serious impulse wave that took us that much, and we have seen around a lot of studies, statistical studies, all pointing to how unusual this advance was for 1 quarter. It is an historical move that often statistically is indicating that there is much more coming down the road. Okay, and we can see that. We can see that from the structure of the major producers of gold and silver. I've just told you, and I've run through so many charts in the last week, repeating almost the same pattern. They all repeat the same pattern, and the pattern is super powerful. Super powerful. And also here, look, we haven't gone anywhere. We haven't gone anywhere for 2 weeks now. The MACD has not turned down. It's turning flat. There is still massive, immense support for further upside. Okay, so let's take it now step by step. I'll show you the daily with all the various options. And I told you when we were around here, I said to you, I do not expect gold to run back up above 1280. If it does, then I'm wrong, and that is a fourth wave. Wait, I'll just open it again so that you can see clearly what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's my 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, 5. That's it. That's the top. That was my assumption at the time, and I told you I think that's going to end up sorry, I told you that's going to end up as an A. Then we have our B, and that presumes that we will not go back there. It didn't. It didn't. Now, it also closed under the 50 moving average that you can see that was support here and here, and now it closed under that. It tried to rally on Friday, didn't close above that. From what I can see, it closed on the 50 moving average right here. Now, what you see here is an idea that I think could play out. We have seen an A coming down. Now, it is abundantly clear that this is already a correction. Yes, I hope it's clear to you. This is a correction. Now, we have got here first leg. I'm taking as an A. And then I think that we have an ABC here, and I think it's going to build up an ABC here. Basically, it's going probably to run into a triangle. It's just an assumption, okay? I have no way of being 100% sure that that is definitely what the market is going to do. What will puncture my idea of this B triangle that is likely afterwards to send it into a sharp C down will be if it goes above this level. So this is fairly obvious. I mean, the limit is fairly clear. It shouldn't go above this level. It comes in just above 1260. It can go and challenge it, but it shouldn't really run above it, because that's going to kill the idea of the triangle here. Let's go and see the 60 minutes. Now, that is our 60 minutes, and we assume that we have terminated the A, B, C, D, E right here, and we have seen an A, B probably terminating a C here that yields the A. Okay, that's how I go about it. And I come down and I see that I have probably A terminating here. It's possible that it also terminated here. It's not going to make a huge difference. Suppose it terminated here. I would imagine that for 1 or 2 days it should stay under 1245. Okay, basically just moving around in this range, and then drop back to 1210. If that happens and it bounces back, you know you got your ABC, and that will be UB. Okay, so that's your A, that's your ABC, B, and then we would expect it to come back towards 1245 or even slightly higher to complete the C. You're with me? That's going to take quite a few days. It's not going to be over in 2 days. No, it's going to drag on for quite some time. Back to the daily. You see, the idea is that the 50 would probably provide resistance overall. Yes, as it is going through these motions of tracing the B, the 50 would provide resistance. And my thinking is at some point when the B is down, it's going to drop down to the 200. You see, that's the 200 that you see here. It's going to drop down to the 200, and that is an excellent buy point. Super buy point. You're not convinced? Well, we'll be there. It's going to take some time. I'm following it every day. But if it drops down to the C and you're still not convinced and you don't think it makes sense to buy, well, never do something if you're not convinced. Why? You are going to have to stand behind your trade. I provide you the best analysis that I can, and you make the decision you agree or you don't agree. If you agree, you have to embrace this analysis as if it's yours, and you have to stand behind your trade. I can't do that for you. No one in the world can do that for you. So if you are not convinced, you don't do anything. And then if I'm right, and this isn't an ABC, and gold comes back surging through 1240, running towards 1280, looking really impulsive like it did here, well, that's it. You either take action or you don't do anything. At that point, you just have no excuse left. I mean, the market is screaming, buy, buy, buy. You don't buy, well, you'll miss it. What can I say? Okay, that's silver, and that's the weekly. And you see again that I've introduced here the 1-2. And you can see that silver has been going through a very, very slow process of turning around here. I still expect silver to hold ground here nicely and to continue higher on the weekly. Although we haven't gone very far, it is still, I don't know if you can see that, the MACD hasn't really gone down. It turned flat when it went sideways. It just turned flat like that. But the power that you can see from the movement here is really supporting massive move up. No question in the world. Now let's see the daily. And you will notice that I don't have any labelings here. You will notice that I left it completely unlabeled. And I've explained in previous videos why at this point in time I do not want to put fixed labelings here, because it's not terribly clear to me. And the best thing to do in such a situation is to wait for further price action. Keep looking at all the relevant markets. Look at all the relevant markets, what they're doing. Look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. Look at the CRB. Look at the metals index of the CRB. Look at all the main producers of gold and silver. And then you begin to get a feel for where this market wants to go. And right now, I suspect sorry, that the 16.5 is going to present a resistance point. Okay, and what will follow beyond that, I suspect is going to help me to sort this out, meaning to put fixed labelings here. I have an issue with the possible 5 legs that is coming down here. I'm still finding it difficult to treat this as an ABC. If I'm wrong and this is indeed an ABC, that could be a third wave. But you saw the chart of gold. You saw the chart of the Australian dollar, US dollar. We saw the CRB. In previous videos we analyzed all that, and this does not sit, this particular metal, the silver, doesn't sit in line with all those markets, related markets, and it often moves along with them. It doesn't sit that this is an ABC, because if this is an ABC, that's going to fly up in a third wave. That'll be 1, 2. Do you understand? But somehow I don't subscribe to this at this point. I could be flat wrong. It could be that we wake up next week and it's going back to 18. At that point, there's no argument left. This is a 1, 2, no question. Okay. There's another thing that happened here. You can see that the 50 is surging above the 200. That's very encouraging, and you can see that the 200 is gradually turning flat, and it's going to take quite a bit of time for it to start pointing up. But there's another thing here very interesting. Look at the 200. Look what happened. Look what happened here. Look what happened here. The 200 was there supporting it and just sending it flying. Now this is important. On top of it, you got this nice cross. Now everything is beginning to point to a major turnaround here in silver that is suggesting much higher prices down the road.